The deceptive Alliance captain Elena Vasquez gripped the armrests of her command chair as the merchant vessel Stellar Wanderer approached the massive Corvani Imperial fleet. Through the viewports, she could see dozens of alien warships stretching across the star field like a metallic forest. Each Corvani vessel was at least 3 times larger than her own ship, their hulls gleaming with an otherworldly purple sheen that seemed to pulse with contained energy. The Corvani Empire had ruled this sector of the galaxy for over 4 centuries. Their ships were legendary for their destructive power, and their military tactics had crushed dozens of civilizations that dared to oppose them. What they didn't know was that Captain Vasquez wasn't really a merchant captain at all. She was Earth's most skilled intelligence officer, and today she was playing the most important role of her life. A holographic projection materialized on the bridge, revealing the imposing figure of Admiral Zethkar, Supreme Commander of the E. Corvani's 7th Battle Fleet. The alien stood nearly 8 feet tall, his reptilian features marked by glowing amber eyes and scaled skin that shifted between deep green and black. 4 arms extended from his muscular torso, each ending in clawed hands that could crush human bones like twigs. Human vessel. Zethkar's voice rumbled through the communication system like distant thunder. You will prepare for inspection. Any resistance will result in immediate destruction. Elena forced herself to look nervous and submissive, though inside she felt nothing but determination. Of course, Admiral. We are honored to meet with representatives of the great Corvani Empire. Earth sends its deepest respects. The alien's eyes narrowed with obvious contempt. Your species amuses me, human. We have studied your pathetic attempts at space travel. Your largest vessels are barely suitable for hauling cargo between your primitive colonies. What Admiral Zethkar didn't know was that for the past 12 years, Earth had been engaged in the most ambitious construction project in human history. Hidden behind Neptune's orbit, where no alien reconnaissance could detect it, humanity's greatest minds had been building something that would change the balance of power in the galaxy forever. Dr. Marcus Chen, Earth's head of advanced weapons development, had spent countless sleepless nights perfecting technologies that no other species had ever imagined. While the rest of the galaxy relied on energy-based weapons that could be deflected or absorbed by advanced shielding, Dr. Chen's team had taken a completely different approach. They had perfected quantum-enhanced kinetic projectiles, weapons that used pure physics and devastating speed to penetrate any known defense. Back on Earth, in a bunker buried 3 miles beneath the Sahara Desert, the true leaders of humanity's military were watching Elena's performance with intense focus. Commander Sarah Torres, the woman responsible for overseeing the construction of Earth's secret supercarrier, stood before a wall of monitors displaying real-time data from across the solar system. Phase 1 is proceeding exactly as planned. Torres reported to the assembled group of generals and admirals. The Corvani are completely convinced that our military capabilities are limited to the decoy fleets we've been showing them for years. On Elena's ship, the inspection was continuing. Corvani soldiers had beamed aboard and were examining every corner of the vessel. They found exactly what Earth wanted them to find: outdated computers, basic life support systems, and cargo holds, filled with simple trade goods. The aliens laughed among themselves, making jokes about human technological limitations. Your ship's engines are centuries behind our technology, one Corvani officer commented to Elena. How do you humans manage to travel between star systems with such primitive propulsion? Elena shrugged, playing the part of an embarrassed representative of a backward species. We do our best with what we have, sir. Perhaps someday Earth might be worthy of learning from the mighty Corvani Empire. The aliens exchanged amused glances. In their culture, strength was everything, and they saw humans as nothing more than insects that had somehow managed to develop basic spaceflight. This arrogance was exactly what Earth's planners had counted on. Admiral Zethkar reviewed the intelligence reports his soldiers had gathered from Elena's ship. According to the data, Earth's entire military consisted of a few dozen destroyers and frigates, none longer than 300 meters. Their weapons were described as simple chemical rockets and basic laser arrays. Most importantly, The reports indicated that humanity had no manufacturing capabilities beyond Earth's immediate solar system. Pathetic, Zethkar muttered as he read through the files. These humans pose no threat to the Empire whatsoever. What the Admiral didn't realize was that every piece of information he was reading had been carefully crafted by Earth's intelligence services. The real human fleet was hidden throughout the outer solar system, powered down and invisible to Corvani sensors. And at the heart of this hidden armada was something that defied all galactic understanding of military engineering. The USS Titan's Heart was not just a ship. It was a mobile city, a fortress that stretched 15 kilometers from bow to stern. Its construction had required the combined efforts of every nation on Earth, along with resources mined from asteroids throughout the solar system. The Supercarrier housed not just weapons, but entire manufacturing facilities, research laboratories, and living quarters for 50,000 crew members. Commander Torres received a coded transmission from Elena's ship. The message was simple. The fish has taken the bait. Torres smiled grimly and activated a secure communication channel. All stations, this is command. Begin final preparation sequences. The Corvani believe they're dealing with primitives. Let's show them what happens when you underestimate humanity. Deep in space, the USS Titan's Heart began to stir. For months, the massive vessel had remained in complete hibernation, its systems powered down to avoid detection. Now, one by one, its systems came online. The quantum reactors that powered the ship hummed to life, generating more energy than some entire solar systems consumed. Captain James Mitchell, the commanding officer of the Titan's Heart, stood on the bridge and watched as his crew prepared for what would be the most important battle in human history. Around him, holographic displays showed the positions of Corvani forces throughout the sector. The aliens had positioned themselves perfectly for what they assumed would be an easy conquest of Earth. "Sir," reported Lieutenant Commander David Park from the tactical station, "all weapon systems are online, the kinetic bombardment arrays are loaded and ready. The quantum enhancement fields are stable." Captain Mitchell nodded. The weapons aboard the Titan's Heart were unlike anything else in the galaxy. Instead of energy beams that could be deflected, they fired solid projectiles accelerated to incredible speeds using quantum field manipulation. A single tungsten rod, no larger than a telephone pole, could punch through the hull of a Corvani battleship like it was made of paper. Back aboard the Stellar Wanderer, Elena was playing her final card. She presented Admiral Zethkar with what appeared to be Earth's complete military database, including detailed specifications of humanity's most advanced warships. The data showed vessels that were laughably primitive by galactic standards. The Earth Council has authorized me to share this information as a gesture of goodwill, Elena said, bowing slightly. "We hope that the great Corvani Empire might consider allowing us to exist peacefully under your protection." Zethkar examined the data with 4 hands working simultaneously across multiple displays. What he saw confirmed everything the Corvani had believed about human limitations. According to the files, Earth's most powerful ship mounted weapons that would barely scratch the paint on a Corvani cruiser. "Your species shows wisdom in recognizing our superiority," the Admiral finally said. "The Empire will consider granting Earth-protected status, provided you agree to certain conditions." Elena pretended to look hopeful. "What conditions, Honored Admiral?" "First, all human military vessels will be scrapped immediately. Second, Earth will provide tribute to the Empire in the form of resources and labor. Third, humanity will accept Corvani oversight of all technological development. Fourth, any attempt to expand beyond your current colonial boundaries will be considered an act of war." The conditions were exactly what Earth's leadership had expected. The Corvani wanted to turn humanity into a client species, forever trapped in a subordinate role. What they didn't realize was that their demands had just sealed their own fate. Elena bowed again, looking defeated. "I will relay these terms to Earth immediately, Admiral. I'm sure our leaders will be honored to accept the Empire's generous protection." As the Corvani forces prepared to escort Elena back to Earth for the formal surrender ceremony, None of them noticed the subtle energy signatures beginning to appear throughout the outer solar system. The USS Titan's Heart was not alone. Dozens of human vessels, each one equipped with technology decades ahead of what the aliens had seen, were powering up their systems. Admiral Zethkar stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Imperial Dreadnought, Eternal Glory, and gazed out at the blue-green world that would soon become the newest addition to the Corvani Empire. Earth looked small and defenseless, hanging in space like a jewel waiting to be plucked. "Signal the fleet," he ordered his communications officer. "Prepare for orbital deployment. Once the humans sign the surrender documents, we'll begin establishing permanent military bases on their major continents." But as the Corvani fleet moved into position around Earth, something extraordinary was happening in the darkness beyond Neptune's orbit. The USS Titan's Heart had finally emerged from its hiding place, and its massive bulk was beginning to accelerate toward the inner solar system. The deception was complete, the trap was set, and humanity was about to show the galaxy that sometimes the greatest strength comes from being underestimated. The Titan's Heart awakens. The first sign that something was wrong came from the Corvani deep space sensors. Lieutenant Vexahun, monitoring officer aboard the flagship Eternal Glory, stared at his display screen in confusion. An energy signature unlike anything in their databases had suddenly appeared on the edge of the solar system. "Admiral Zethkar," Vexahun called across the bridge, "we're detecting an unknown contact moving inward from the outer system. The signature is unprecedented." Admiral Zethkar approached the sensor station with confident strides. In 4 centuries of galactic conquest, the Corvani had never encountered anything their sensors couldn't identify. "Probably another human cargo vessel," he said dismissively. "These primitives scatter their ships throughout their system like lost children." But as the sensor data continued to stream in, Zethkar's confidence began to waver. The contact was massive beyond anything they had seen from humanity. According to the readings, the approaching vessel was larger than their own flagship, larger than any ship in the Corvani fleet. On Earth, Elena Vasquez had completed her mission and was now aboard a shuttle heading for the surface. As she entered Earth's atmosphere, she activated a secure communication device and spoke a single code phrase: "The Giant awakens." In the underground command bunker, Commander Sarah Torres received Elena's signal and immediately activated the final phase of humanity's plan. On screens throughout the facility, the positions of human forces across the solar system became visible for the first time. What the displays revealed would have shocked any alien observer. Earth had not been defenseless at all, hidden throughout the asteroid belt, behind the moons of gas giants, and in the shadows of space stations were dozens of advanced warships, each one armed with weapons technology that surpassed anything the galaxy had ever seen. But the crown, jewel of Earth's secret fleet, was now approaching at incredible speed. The USS Titan's Heart had shed its stealth systems and was revealing itself in all its terrifying glory. Captain James Mitchell stood on the Supercarrier's command bridge, watching as his ship's massive bulk accelerated toward the Corvani fleet. Around him, displays showed the positions of enemy vessels surrounding Earth. There were 47 Corvani warships in total, including 12 massive dreadnoughts that each carried enough firepower to glass an entire planet. "Sir," reported his tactical officer, "the enemy fleet is beginning to react to our approach. They're powering up weapons and moving into defensive formations." Captain Mitchell smiled grimly. "Let them prepare all they want. They have no idea what they're facing." The USS Titan's Heart was more than just a large warship. It was a testament to everything humanity could achieve when united toward a common goal. The ship's 15-kilometer length housed not just weapons, but entire cities, manufacturing bays that could produce fighter craft, missile systems, and replacement parts, hydroponics facilities that could feed the crew for decades, research laboratories where Earth's greatest minds continued to develop new technologies, even during combat. Dr. Marcus Chen was in one of those laboratories now, making final adjustments to the ship's primary weapon systems. The quantum-enhanced kinetic bombardment arrays represented a completely new approach to space warfare. While other species had spent centuries perfecting energy weapons and defensive shields, humanity had focused on the simple physics of mass and acceleration. The beauty of kinetic weapons, Dr. Chen had once explained to the design committee, is that there's no known defense against them. You can deflect energy, absorb heat, and redirect radiation, but you cannot stop a solid projectile moving at 15% of light speed. Admiral Zethkar was no longer dismissive as he watched the approaching human vessel. His sensors were now providing detailed scans of the massive ship, and what they revealed defied everything the Corvani knew about human capabilities. "This is impossible," he growled, his forearms working frantically across multiple control panels. "The humans showed us their complete fleet manifest. Their largest ships were barely 300 meters long." His intelligence officer, Commander Thekvar, was reviewing the data they had gathered from Elena's merchant vessel. "Sir, it appears we may have been deceived. This ship measures 15,000 meters in length. It's larger than our entire battle group combined." The Admiral's reptilian features twisted with rage. The Corvani prided themselves on their intelligence-gathering capabilities. To be fooled by a species they considered primitive was more than embarrassing. It was unthinkable. "Signal all ships," Zethkar ordered. "Attack formation. Prepare to destroy this human vessel before it can reach effective weapons range." But the USS Titan's heart was already within weapons range. Captain Mitchell had been waiting for this moment for 12 years, ever since Earth's leaders had first decided to build humanity's ultimate deterrent. "All batteries," he commanded. "Commence." Firing! What happened next had never been seen before in galactic warfare. The Titan's heart's kinetic bombardment arrays fired simultaneously, launching hundreds of tungsten projectiles at velocities that approached the speed of light. The projectiles were guided by quantum targeting systems that could track and hit a moving target across millions of kilometers of space. The Corvani fleet's energy shields, designed to absorb and deflect laser and plasma weapons, were completely useless against solid projectiles moving at such incredible speeds. The first salvo from the human supercarrier struck 3 Corvani cruisers simultaneously. The tungsten rods punched through their hulls like bullets through tissue paper, causing massive internal explosions that tore the alien ships apart from within. "Impossible!" Admiral Zethkar screamed as he watched 3 of his most powerful vessels disintegrate in seconds. "How are they penetrating our shields?" The answer was simple. They weren't. The human weapons were bypassing the shields entirely, using pure kinetic energy to overwhelm any defensive system. It was like trying to stop a speeding train with the umbrella. Dr. Chen, monitoring the battle from his laboratory aboard the Titan's heart, watched with satisfaction as his weapons performed, exactly as designed. "Kinetic bombardment array efficiency at 98%, he reported to Captain Mitchell. "Target acquisition systems are functioning perfectly." The Corvani fleet attempted to return fire, but their energy weapons were largely ineffective against the Titan's heart's revolutionary armor systems. Earth's engineers had developed composite materials that could absorb and dissipate energy attacks while remaining virtually impervious to physical damage. As the battle continued, more human vessels began appearing throughout the solar system. Fast attack ships emerged from asteroid hiding places, launching swarms of guided missiles at the Corvani fleet. Stealth destroyers decloaked and began targeting enemy command vessels with precision strikes. Elena Vasquez, now safely on Earth's surface, watched the battle unfold on news broadcasts around the world. For the first time in her career as an intelligence officer, she allowed herself to feel pride in what humanity had accomplished. The deception had worked perfectly. The Corvani had been so blinded by their own arrogance that they never imagined Earth might be capable of matching their technology. Admiral Zethkar realized that his fleet was being systematically destroyed by an enemy he had completely underestimated. In 30 minutes of combat, he had lost half his ships to weapons that his shields couldn't stop. The human supercarrier continued its relentless advance, its massive bulk seemingly unstoppable. "Signal retreat," he finally ordered, his voice filled with disbelief. "All surviving ships, withdraw to the outer system immediately." But Captain Mitchell had no intention of letting the Corvani escape. The USS Titan's Heart launched squadrons of fighter craft that pursued the fleeing alien vessels. These weren't the primitive ships the Corvani had expected. They were advanced fighters equipped with the same kinetic weapons technology as the Supercarrier, capable of outmaneuvering and destroying ships many times their size. As the remnants of the Corvani fleet fled toward the edge of the solar system, Admiral Zethkar sent a desperate message to the Empire's high command. "The humans were not what they appeared to be," he transmitted. "They possess weapons technology beyond our understanding. Recommend immediate reassessment of their threat level." The response from the Empire was swift and brutal. "Admiral Zethkar, you are relieved of command. Your failure to properly assess a primitive species is unacceptable. Report to the nearest Imperial base for disciplinary action." But Zethkar would never reach an Imperial base. The human fighters caught up with his flagship just as it reached the asteroid belt. The Eternal Glory, pride of the Corvani fleet, was destroyed by weapons fired from ships no larger than shuttlecraft. Back on Earth, Commander Sarah Torres addressed the planet's population in a historic broadcast. "Citizens of Earth," she began, "today marks the beginning of a new chapter in human history. For too long, we have hidden our capabilities, allowing others to underestimate what we could achieve when we work together. The USS Titan's Heart and her sister ships represent not just our military might, but our commitment to protecting human freedom throughout the galaxy." News of the battle spread quickly through galactic communication networks. Species that had considered humanity a minor player in galactic affairs suddenly began reassessing their relationships with Earth. The Corvani Empire, which had seemed invincible for centuries, had been defeated by a species they had planned to enslave. Dr. Chen, reflecting on the victory from his laboratory, understood that this battle had changed more than just the balance of power in the galaxy. It had proven that innovation and determination could triumph over brute force and arrogance. Earth had shown that sometimes the greatest strength comes from being underestimated. The USS Titan's Heart continued its patrol of the solar system, no longer hidden in the shadows but openly displaying humanity's newfound power. Other alien species began sending diplomatic messages to Earth, seeking trade agreements and mutual defense pacts. The galaxy had learned an important lesson. Never assume that quiet means weak. As Captain Mitchell looked out at the stars from his bridge, he knew that humanity's journey was just beginning. Earth was no longer a backwater world on the edge of civilized space. They had become a power that could stand alongside any empire in the galaxy, protected by ingenuity, determination, and the greatest secret weapon of all, the element of surprise. The Corvani Empire would eventually recover from their defeat, but they would never again underestimate humanity. Earth had earned its place among the stars, not through conquest or aggression, but through the simple demonstration that human engineering and human courage could overcome any challenge. In the end, the USS Titan's Heart had done more than just win a battle. It had announced to the galaxy that humanity was ready to take its place as a major power, armed with technology that no other species possessed and united by a determination that no empire could break.